The CBS Evening News is going to have a new face. Tony Dokoupil, currently co-host of the network's morning show, CBS Mornings, will fill the prestigious anchor seat starting in the new year.
It comes after current co-anchors John Dickerson and Maurice Dubois both recently announced their intentions to leave the show at the end of the year. Dokoupil was reportedly a frontrunner for the job and even caught the attention of future CBS editor-in-chief Bari Weiss's publication, The Free Press, back in October of last year when Dokoupil confronted author Ta-Nehisi Coates on CBS Mornings over the way he framed the Israel-Hamas war in his new book. Take a listen.
I took your name out of it, took away the awards and the acclaim, took the cover off the book, the publishing house goes away. The content of that section would not be out of place in the backpack of an extremist. You write a book that delegitimizes the pillars of Israel, it seems like an effort to topple the whole building of it. What is it that so particularly offends you about the existence of a Jewish state that is a Jewish safe place? Why is there no agency in this book for the Palestinians? They exist in your narrative merely as victims of the Israelis, as though they were not offered peace at any juncture, as though they don't have a stake in this as well.
The Free Press later broke the story that CBS leadership was allegedly admonishing Dokoupil for how he handled that interview.
Dokoupil may not have been the only talent on Weiss's radar, though. She reportedly expressed interest over the last few weeks in poaching several big names to lead the show. Those names included Fox News' Bret Baier, who is under contract, and CNN's Anderson Cooper, who was reportedly too expensive for the network. I did not know that. But despite chasing after big names, some weren't at all surprised to see Dokoupil's name come out on top. Mehdi Hasan, writing on X, quote, "Pro-Israel guy gets top job from new pro-Israel boss and new pro-Israel owner. Surprise!"
Well, look,
I'm much more pro Mehdi Hasan than you are, but we won't get sidetracked with that. I'd like
very much not.
Tony
Dokoupil, he has leading man energy. I think he's a fine choice. I know people of the more anti-Israel persuasion were not, or some of them at least, were not happy about that interview. I thought it was a fine interview. It was maybe more aggressive than is often characteristic of a morning show type energy, but I didn't think the questions were unfair. And frankly, to Ta-Nehisi Coates' credit, he didn't complain about it. It was people complaining on his behalf. He's a big boy. He's a smart person. He engages in the realm of debate. He is a strident and aggressive critic of people he disagrees with. So I did not think it was really unfair to put him in the hot seat, so to speak. Now, I'm not sure that format is the best format for really getting at important differences of opinion on the Israel issue, but I don't think it was wrong that he went that direction if he felt like it. And other than that, I'm not overly familiar with the kind of things he does, but he's not some unacceptable choice, certainly, to me.
This may surprise you, given my broadly pro-Palestinian views, but I'm not in a state of outrage about this particularly itself. I do think, in regards to that Ta-Nehisi Coates interview, to my mind, the debate, I think, there is whether that kind of interview seemed incongruous on a mainstream network morning show. Because when he was rebuked by one of his bosses, one of the issues was that the boss is saying something to the effect of, "We're not here to represent a viewpoint." Now, you and I kind of are here to represent viewpoints, right? It's a different kind of show. And there are all kinds of media forum where you go in expecting or knowing what the host or co-host's basic viewpoint is going to be. So I do think that interview was debatable, but I also, within the construct of a CBS morning show. It was not a breezy
morning book. It is a book about incendiary book on a provocative topic.
Yeah.
And he has strong views that are contrary to that aspect of the book. Right. And if somebody had positive views, I don't know. This is not the best format, is a morning show of that kind to go over that.
Right.
But, if we'd had Ta-Nehisi Coates on Rise, even though I am not particularly animated by opposition to him on that specific issue, I might have, to fairly represent a more pro-Israel view, asked aggressive questions, and you would ask friendlier questions, and that's kind of the premise of a show that is not fundamentally unlike their show.
Right. And as far as Tony Dokoupil is concerned, I mean, I just think let's judge him on how he does once
Yeah,
he takes
absolutely.
over as anchor, and if he, people, criticize everybody in the media, including us at times, and like that's fine. It's fine to have fair criticism and to judge people on their performance. Now, to be clear about this, I'm much more skeptical, as you're well aware, about Barry Weiss's role at CBS, given her identification with, I would argue, very pro-Israel positions to a degree that they have often, to my mind, minimized Palestinian suffering or tried to rationalize away Israeli misdeeds, and it seems, I think, fairly obvious that that element of her public and journalistic persona was something important to the new owners of CBS as they shifted away from what I would argue was a more frankly journalistically impressive model to a more ideologically driven right-wing and pro-Trump model.
I mean, what is so interesting about that, though, is that it is not really exactly what Trump or a Trump base wants either. Is that sometimes that perspective is frankly at odds a little bit with what the Trump base is clamoring for, what the very online people were describing also have non-interventionist foreign policy. So I'm going to be interested to see how her, in some ways more establishment but not Trumpist necessarily, views come into conflict with an audience. They might be, if they're seeking a more right-of-center audience. I don't think Trump himself cares either way, but that will be interesting to see. I think we just have to judge the product by its merits. The kinds of people she's wanted to hire. Brett Baer is I think a great news reporter who has a great hour of news on Fox. Anderson Cooper, I like, actually. I enjoy a lot of what his programming does. He gets criticized sometimes. That's fine. So, she has sought reasonably talented people that, frankly, anyone in that position would seek out.
While we're on the topic of anchors, I don't know if this is influencing my generous assessment of Tony Dokoupil or not, but people often complain that women are identified by who they're married to. I, as not a huge viewer of CBS Mornings, think of Tony Dokoupil as Mr. Katie Tour, and Katie Tour is actually my favorite MSNBC anchor.
Oh, are they married?
They're married.
Oh, I had no idea.
Indeed they are.
Oh, good for them.
It's good for them. So perhaps that makes me, by proxy, slightly more pro Tony Dokoupil than I would otherwise be.
Oh, that's
no
idea.
I would hope that she stays at MSNBC and resists any temptation to lure her, if there ever is one, over to CBS.
Of course, the overarching issue, which we've talked about a couple times, is whether Barry also acquires CNN as part of her growing empire, because there's the hostile takeover bid that Paramount has to try to get Warner Brothers and CNN, which is under them. Because right now they're going to Netflix, but CNN's not going to be part of that deal, and they're going to hammer it. And part of it, unfortunately, dagger to my heart, hinges on who's going to flatter Trump more.
Yeah,
it's a bad system, in my view, where the federal government has a veto
power. Well, and he'll use every bit of that veto power and every bit of that leverage, I would imagine.
Yeah, we will see.
It's not a great scenario in my view. Anyway.
Up next, Elon Musk is revealing why he would not do Doge again. We'll be right back after this.